Alright, so I know it looks a little weird in the video here, but you see a lot of lights on and they're flickering, but it's not really like that in person. Okay, so we're going to talk about the transmission on the DSG, and I'm pretty sure, but I don't know, but I think my clutches are starting to go. When I'm driving the car, what it's doing is like if I'm sitting at a light, I can almost feel it kind of wanting to go forward a little bit, even though my foot is very firmly on the brake pedal occasionally. And when it's downshifting, sometimes it starts getting a little confused, like the PRND S on this car, not L. PRND L is normal, right? PRND L. S, okay, sport. So PRNDS is starting to it'll like start to like not go into first or something like that. When I'm at a light, it'll come up to a light and then it'll kind of hesitate, and then all of a sudden occasionally these things will start flashing. So all the PRNDS will start flashing all at once. They'll start flashing like this. And if you have that problem, typically you can put it in park, turn the engine off, restart it, and it clears. So I think that's some sort of signal from the computer telling you that, you know, something isn't right. And when I was doing that, I actually got an engine light a couple times now, but after I drive it for a while, if I'm on the road for a while, that will actually clear because it's not, you know, hesitating to go into park all the time. So I'm guessing that that is probably excessive clutch wear, which it might show up as a code. So I thought I'd bring you guys along with me and we'd check on our VCDS from Rostec. If you're a Volkswagen owner, this is absolutely something you need to have. Even if you're taking it to the shop, you really need a Rostec VCDS. It's a cord like this that you plug into your laptop that's hooked into my OBD2. You can see down there, that's the OBD2. And this will keep your mechanic honest, even if you're not doing your own work. And you will know kind of more about your car and what's going on with it. It's really good to be educated about your car. So what I'm doing now is it's going through almost every time it uploads a new every time I run it, it uploads and puts a new version in or something like that. So it's really a really good system to have. And the reason that you want this instead of just your regular code reader is if you're doing any work on your car, you can actually code parts. So for instance, when you replace your injectors, the injectors have to be coded to the car when you install them, or it'll go through a fault mode in the system and it won't recognize the injectors. So I'm just giving you some examples of different things. Like I had to replace this. There's a power control module under here, and that power control module went out and made my air conditioning not work at all. So the fan and all that wouldn't work. So the power control for the fan went out. And with the Rostec, I was able to actually code the new part, because you have to actually program it. So you take your old one, you go through a sequence of taking the code that was in there out, saving that, and then, you know, writing it all down, and then putting in the same code in the new part. So those are the types of things that the Rostec can do, where if you just have a regular code reader, it can't do that. So if you buy a code reader, you're spending whatever, you know, $80, $60 for a good CAN bus code reader. You might as well just go ahead and spend the extra money and get the Rostec. They are like $300 and some odd dollars, but I would highly recommend getting one. So you can actually do some of the work in your car and you can monitor everything, and you know, it does a lot more than that. It does tons of stuff. So anyway, it's more than just a regular code reader. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and let this load up and I'll let you guys hang out for a second here. I'll put you on pause, and then we're going to go ahead and take a look and see, you guys will see as I'm seeing, what the code is for the transmission if it shows up, because it already did clear itself because the engine light's not on anymore. So, but it should be still in the system as a fault. By the way, again, while I'm waiting for this to load up, I'll tell you guys, a lot of people think you can get a generic version of the Rostec unit and it'll do the same thing. That is absolutely not true. It does not work the same. You can try it and you'll find out you'll be limited on what you're able to do. With the Rostec, you can do a lot more. So if you're thinking, there's an easier, cheaper route, you might as well just get off your wallet now, spend the money, and you'll find out that it was worth it. I've done it the easy, cheap way already and realized, it was worth spending the money once instead of 3 times. By the way, your comments will be greatly appreciated, even if you do know of a better one for cheaper. They also have the VAGCOM original equipment. I'd love to hear about it. Go ahead and put it down in the comments, and I'll leave the other people to go ahead and look at those comments as well and re-comment them if you find them to be inaccurate. I'll have the comments to be like a forum for the video, so make sure you guys do comment even if you like or dislike the video. Thank you. So when it comes up, I go ahead and push auto scan. This is going to take about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes of install, which is a little bit of a pain, it just takes time. You gotta be patient. Then I'll just push scan. It'll be about 10 minutes worth of stuff. Then I'll spare you guys the details of that. Right now, it's just kind of going through all the sequences of all the different stuff. Anywhere from the radio to the. It goes all anywhere from like the radio all the way to the wheels and tires, pretty much. I mean, in this scan, it'll show you all the faults that are in there. And then I'll just go ahead and pinpoint the one with the transmission and show you. Alright, so here's what I found here. So it said a couple different things here. If you go down to the bottom, you just kind of scroll down, you go down to here, it's shows auto trans, labels, blah blah blah. One, unexpected implausible mechanical gear disengagement. So I'm not sure, it might be actually the DSG might be having a problem with the valve body. That's what I'm thinking. And it shows you like a freeze frame of what was going on when it happened, if you're at idle or if you're going down the road or whatever. So, and then it shows here ABS brakes, labels, no code found. So it shows you all the different types of things, if there was any codes. Like right now I got one of my parking lights is out. I was going to fix that when I have a minute. And it shows you that. It'll show you like even your radio speakers. I have some radio speakers that are disconnected because they don't sound very good, so I removed the mid-range speakers because they were just too much mid-range. So I just disconnected them, and it actually knows I did it, so it's pretty crazy. Positioning, I'm just looking for the one on the transmission, but it looks like you go here to the regular thing, you go down, found impossible data received from instrument panel control module. I don't have any idea what that one is. So, and that was right here, but it shows what RPMs the engine were, how many kilometers it was, where it was at when it hit see on the freeze frame, it shows you when it happened, how much it was, and all that stuff. So it's easier to figure out your diagnosis of why it might be happening. But the one I'm looking at is the auto trans. So the code that pulled up for that, a little bit past where I want to go. Auto trans, we've got component, blah, blah, unexpected, implausible mechanical gear displacement, and it says intermittent. So yeah, it's probably these DSGs have a couple different issues that I know of, and I'm not a Volkswagen technician. One of them is the clutches. A lot of times you'll see excessive clutch wear. And that's when you're not really, if you're creeping forward a lot, like you should either have your foot on the brake pedal or off the brake pedal. If you're just kind of dragging your foot on the brake a lot, you'll wear out the clutches a lot faster. And because it'll roll really slowly when you just let the foot off all the way off the brake. It'll roll really slowly versus a regular car will go almost too fast. So it's just a little different than the regular automatic. But it looks like implausible mechanical gear disengagement. I think the valve body's got some restrictions or old fluid. Now, if you're having this issue, probably gonna have to replace the valve body, and that's probably what I'm gonna do. But at the same time, I'm gonna go ahead and put the clutches in. But either that, or I'll take it to a transmission guy that knows how to work on these and have him do it. I'm not sure. But or you can take it to the dealer, take the part out, you can take it to the dealer and get a rebuilt one. They're a few $1,000. Yeah, it's probably the valve body is getting stuck. Now, one of the things people don't know on this car is you should be replacing your transmission oil every 40,000 miles, and people go, what, every 40,000 miles? You don't need to do that. Guys go, oh no, you don't need to do that. Well, the clutches, because they're like motorcycle clutches, they're a wet clutch system, they will put grayness in your fluid, and that's why this thing has a filter on the transmission. And and being Volkswagen, they have very tight tolerances, and in the valve body there's just not a lot of room for dirt. So if any little tiny bit of dirt gets in there, it's going to start giving you issues. So probably my guess is, before I got this car, they never changed the transmission oil, and that might be the case with your car. If you're looking at it and you have the same issue, then probably a good idea is to, if you own one of these, make sure you change it every 40,000 miles, and then you'll probably have a lot longer life out of your transmission. It's not a real big deal. I mean, it's a big deal, but it is what it is. At least you can figure out what it is, and if you took it to a shop, and even if you didn't work on it yourself, at least you know what the problem was, and they're not getting a bunch of baloney from some guy that doesn't even know what he's doing. So anyway, that's it. That's what I found for the transmission, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe.